Hey everyone, it's Citizen Journalist again, and this is part two of notes from the court. I got my floral little notebook. Again, I am wearing the Citizen Journalist because Truth Matters merch from R.A. Jacobs. If you guys are not following R.A. Jacobs or don't know who she is a content creator on YouTube. She's also on TikTok. I believe her is at R.A. Jacobs. She has a merch store, and you can purchase one of these really cute sweatshirts. And she's got other stuff there too. She is a content creator who exposes cry bullies, and she had her own incident with the New York Times. She was kind of like my red pill into the Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni thing because she's the one who said New York Times needs a second look, and I started to deep dive. So, yeah, go and give her a follow and check out the merch. That's what I'm wearing today. I'm gonna go ahead and let people come in to the chat before I start. We left off, there's a part one video to this. If you have not seen it, I'm going to link it in the description below. It has all the court fashion and the first half of the hearing. So the hearing was split up into two parts. The first part, it was Meryl Gavrnsky giving her argument. And then the second part, or it was Meryl Gavrnsky for 15 minutes, and then it was Perez for 10 minutes. And then he cleared the courtroom to do an ex parte. He wanted to look at the privilege log that Perez Hilton. So dun dun dun. That's where we left off, was during the privilege log, where he saw it. So we're coming back around 3:10. Let me find it in my notes here, where we left off. So, and I'm gonna pull it up. I'm gonna pull it up on YouTube so that I can read the chat from over here, so that way I don't have to be looking over there. And Jen gave me a super chat at the end of the last one. Thank you so much, Jen. And I appreciate everyone that was supporting me on the last one. Let me pull up the live chat here. How do I pull it up? It's so weird because it's not here, but yet I'm live. Oh, thank you so much, Ellie. She said you're doing a great job covering the subpoena case involving Perez. Yeah, it was actually really fun to come out here and cover this. I know it wasn't fun for Perez, but it was fun to see what boots on the ground reporting is about. I met a lot of great journalists. There was a journalist here from CBS local. And just to see like all the hard work that it takes. Lauren Conlon is a boots on the ground reporter that I follow. And yeah, it really takes a lot of hard work. It's really weird because on YouTube, I don't see that I'm on live or anything like that, because I'm trying to pull up the chat so I can see y'all's, who's in the chat and stuff. So let me just, let me see if I can find out where I'm at going live. Hi, is it Dee Dee? Because then I gotta go like super close to read the chat. And I'm trying to figure out how to, sorry y'all, I'm just trying to figure out how I can get, is it under your videos? Or can I not see it on the channel until it posts? It's just so weird because usually if I'm on live, I can just click it. And the only live is 4 hours ago. I don't even see the one that I just did. Let me exit out and go back in. Oh, you had to exit YouTube and reload. Okay, maybe that's what I just did. So let me see. Okay, so there's my last video under history. Yeah, I'm trying to watch this one so I can read the chat from my phone as Okay, well, I'm just gonna read from my notes and then I'll come and check the chat. Hey, Christina, how are you? Yeah, we had a lot of viewers earlier and I had to cut it short, so I apologize. There's only 6 of y'all here now. Let me, hopefully we get the crowd back going, or at least on replay crew. Oh, there's Kenny. Hi, Kenny. Let me go through the notes here. But yeah, I had some dinner. It was really nice. I got to eat. Yeah, I had some friends that were coming by that, ooh, Band-Aid. That were coming by and they were like, oh, we're here. So I had to cut the last chat short. Let me just find it. Okay. So this is where she was fighting to be like, I need to know what's being talked about in that ex parte. I would say ex parte, but it's ex parte, I guess. That's how he was pronouncing it. Yeah, she was trying to get the sources. Okay, courtroom cleared. Okay, we're back. 3:10. We got the notes. We are back. Okay. So we left off, for those of y'all who didn't see part 1, we left off where the courtroom got cleared so that he could see the privilege log. And then he says, as everybody, oh, we lost a bunch of people when we were coming into the courtroom. So remember how I said like it was practically full? A lot of people did not come back in the courtroom. I know the shout out to the CBS affiliate who was there. I know she said she had some notes with timestamps. I know. I love the timestamps because it showed like how long each person got to argue. Like I said, Merrill's argument was 15 minutes from like 2:15 to 2:30 because court was supposed to start at 1 today or 1:30. And then when we got there, there was a sign that said that it had been delayed to 2. So, and then once we got into the courtroom at 2, the judge didn't come out till 2:15. So I don't know, it's just like little tiny details that I look into. So it says, he goes, I reviewed the privilege log, but the privilege log requires much more detail than what was in there. The creation of this privilege log will require a forensic expert and legal help. It said, and then he goes, and your client would have to pay for this. He turns to Meryl and tells her, your client would have to pay for this. By September 8th, a privilege log will have to be provided. The cost of creating the log will be on your client. It says in what? In come here? Okay. It says something about how he will have to identify the info and where to get it from. So he will have to identify what the information is going to be. I'm just realizing my hair is like super frizzy. It got really, really frizzy with that wind. I got Blake Lively hair back here. Y'all see it? Sorry, y'all. Not worried about the hair. You're like, read the notes. They should pay if they want to jump through hoops. Yeah, they should pay for it. So it says, he needs the details, the way the log, he needs more details, is what the judge says about Perez. He needs more details. And the way that it's being logged, from what he saw in the privilege log that Perez showed him, he says, this is all electronically stored info based on our conversation and the volume and nature of what was in it. I realized that in order to identify what is privileged, we would have to have a forensic analysis. And he says, I won't require him to pay. Oh, he's talking about Perez. I won't require him to pay. What we're going to need is we're going to need dates. So it's going to need to have the date, who it's from, who received it, the nature of the conversation, and then whether it was like an email, a DM, a text, and then a short description. I'm just going to lean back and settle in and read. So I'll come back to the chat if anybody is in the chat. So I'm not going to be reading the chat. I'm just going to chill and read from back here. A short description of what it's about. The court recognizes that he's a non-party, and this would place an undue burden on him. He will provide the estimates under seal, and then they can then determine whether they want to pay for it. So he's basically saying that your client, which is Miss Lively, can determine whether or not she wants to pay for it after he provides the estimates. Once the forensic analyst looks into the does the forensics or whatever. He's like, I will need to see the privileges. So basically he's saying that he can't make a decision on the motion to quash and the privileges until he sees the privilege log, and what he was shown was not detailed enough for him to make a decision. So he's saying, I'm going to send you by September 8th. I need you to, get 3 vendor quotes. And maybe I'm getting ahead of myself, but I'm just trying to explain what he was saying. He's like, I'm going to need 3 vendor quotes of what it's estimated to cost to extract from whatever the devices or the things of this information. Because apparently he said that from what was already in the privilege log that Perez showed him, that it was all electronically stored information that would need to be extracted. And that Blake Lively would have to pay for it, because for him to do it on his own, it's so voluminous that that it would be too burdensome. He said, so then she said, it was Meryl's turn, or, he finished saying that I need to see the privilege, and Meryl says, I understand the costs that it would require, but she basically is saying, I need to know what kind of communications it is that wouldn't be privileged. And she kept talking about these signal communications. The signal communications that she said were, I guess from the text messages from Tag and stuff, that there was signal communications. Remember where it was get Friedman or something about a group chat started on Signal? And I don't believe that they found anything that there was ever a signal communication. Because at one point, Meryl also said that she was like, we can't find the signal, or we can't get the signal communications from the Wayfair parties, because they decided to auto delete their signal communications, or somehow they found out that the signal communications are being auto deleted. So I don't know if she just made that up, or that came out in deposition, or what. So if anybody in the chat knows, or in the comments, if you're part of Replay Crew and can tell me where they got that idea that Wayfair auto deleted signal messages, could have been a text message or something. I don't know. But she literally brought up the signal messages a bunch of times as if it was fact that Perez is part of it. So then the judge interrupts her and says, no, you won't know. Oh, it was so this is the part where it got spicy again. I wrote spicy next to it whenever it would get spicy, so that I could later let y'all know when he got spicy. And that's when he kind of got a little bit stern, and he's like, no, you won't know. I will know. Because she was like, I need to know if it's Signal, if the communications are coming from Signal, or if they're coming from, I don't know if she said that before or after, where she says no, it was before. On the last video, I go over how she said that there was a shared drive where they were communicating with content creators. So let me adjust here. It's my first, one of my first few times being able to see myself. So I'm like, okay. So then he goes, no, you won't know. I will know. And he was really stern when he looked at her. He says, once I get the cost of the extraction And if the info is protected, you will not know about it, he told her. Could be what? But guys, I got like super sloppy with these ones. The other ones were sloppy, but like sloppy that I could read. So let me just try and figure this one out. It says, could be, does it say curated? Oh, could be created. So it says you will not know about it. It could be created by what's been reviewed. iCloud, hard drives. You are not entitled to that information. So he's basically saying it could either be on iCloud or hard drives or anything like that, but you're not going to know where the information is coming from because you're not entitled to that information, is what he tells her. Once I get the estimates, I don't want to provide any information that's privileged. You will not receive that information. So then she says, well, can I clarify something about the estimates? She's like, will the estimates include what has to be extracted? And then he says, no, it's what's collected and reviewed. So the estimate's going to be what's collected and reviewed. And then a paralegal will work with what's extracted by the forensic expert and help him put it together into a privilege log. And then she says, so would it be a manual collection then? But she wasn't understanding that he was talking about a forensic expert doing the collection. So she's like, would it be a manual? It's like, no, the info will be extracted through a vendor of Mr. Hilton's choice. They will create the log with the paralegal. So again, she's just like asking the same question. So I've asked him to give me an estimate of that, and he will be getting 3 different estimates. And I will receive them and I will review them. So this is the part I was getting ahead of myself. I told y'all this is the part where he's reviewing the estimates. And then Merrill says, well, the way that you're describing is that there's the computer and devices. The way you describe it is the computer and devices. The way you're describing it is extraction from computer and devices. And I don't understand the volume of that, like whether it would be easier for him to just take screenshots of his communications. And then he cuts her off when she starts talking about the screenshots. He cuts her off and he was like, no, I'm not going to order him to do that. I'm not going to order him to do that, he says. That's an undue burden on him. And the way he snapped at her, her response was like all super sheepish. And she's like, okay, understood. And I believe at this point, she was not up at the podium, if I'm correct. I'm trying to think. Because I believe at this point, they're just talking each from their like seats, Perez and Merrill. I don't believe Merrill was up at the podium when we came back from, when we came back from the break, I think they were just sitting down and talking to him from the little desk areas they were at. Because I know when she did her argument, she was up at the podium and then Perez went up to the podium. But I don't believe when they came back, they were, so then Merrill goes, then the judge says, when we get to the point of having the privilege log, and to the point where you're paying for the services, then you can ask more questions, he told her. The reality is, I'm not saying there's relevant material. Okay, so then the judge is like, the reality of this is, I'm not saying that there's even relevant material in there. I'm just saying that digital info will have to be extracted by a forensic analysis. And then that's when she's like, well, I get it, I do, but what about stuff that isn't digital? What about hard copies? What about gifts to Mr. Hilton from Mr. Friedman? Like actual gifts, like as if he gifted him like an actual gift. Let me look into the chat, guys. Let's see. Oh, hi, Leanne. I see Leanne in here. Christina, she said, I don't understand the signal stuff. My question is, if they found anything, why do they need this info from Perez? It logically makes no sense to me. It just seems that everything they say is a lie. How do I get the because it's my first time doing it from YouTube and not, let me see, is it pin message? Can y'all see the message? Did I pin it? Can y'all see the message in the chat, or let me see, can y'all, I did, I pinned it? Okay. So was that message, like, can you guys read it? Like, you know how like I do on StreamYard, or like, no? Or is it just pinned in the little chat? It's pinned to the top of the chat. Okay. I'm trying to figure out, maybe I could just do that on StreamYard and not on YouTube. I'm just in YouTube Studio, y'all. So we're just chilling. It's Tuesday, September 2nd, 9 p.m. PST time. And I'm just reading the notes before I have to fly out and go back to the real world, EST time. Are there ways of uncovering the text on Signal? Yeah, there's no way to pin it, replace pinned message. Oh, I guess I could pin it to the top of the chat. Yeah, I'll go on StreamYard next time so I can pin y'all's chats and stuff. I'm more used to StreamYard, but I decided to give YouTube Studio a go. I don't know how much I like it. I feel like StreamYard is way better. I can so she says, are there ways of uncovering the text on Signal? It reminds me of when my girls say Snapchat works. Yeah, so that's what she's saying, is that it auto deletes on Signal, or that she somehow came up with the information that the Wayfair parties were doing that. But yeah, let's see. Oh, hey, Joe. Okay, so I'm going to go back to reading the notes. Thank you, everyone, for being here. We lost a lot of y'all by going out to dinner, but that's okay because I had to eat. And my friends actually had wanted to meet up earlier, and then I ended up going over to Le Petit Bohème. Shout out to Petit Bohème. I'm going to shout him out on the morning show, too, because they hosted us for the Perez Hilton after party. If you guys are not following me on Instagram and want all the pictures and the videos of the after party, I'm going to post those to Instagram, possibly even maybe TikTok. But it's a really nice place. There's graffiti art. So if you're ever in Las Vegas, Le Petit Bohème. So I was over there, and then I didn't get to meet up with my friends. I said, we'll meet up afterwards for dinner. So they were waiting on me, but we did lose a lot of people who were like seriously sat for these notes. Who else is in here? Oh, it's pinned to the top of the chat. Okay, so I'm just going to settle back in and read this. Yeah, we're at the part where she's like, I get it, but what about hard copies and the gifts from Mr. Friedman? He can log that himself, she said. Payments or he's like, how can payments that he received in his bank account or agreements that he made with sources, how can he not log that himself? And then the judge is like, at this point, I'm not aware that any of that exists. Like, clap back. Meryl, sit down. He didn't say that, but that's what I was saying. I was like, Meryl, she was already sitting. Sorry. I'm like, she was already sitting. But yeah, he was. I said on the other one that I didn't think that he was, I'd be touching my face all the time. I don't know. It's like a tick. Sorry, y'all. Who's laughing, girl? He's like, Meryl, sit down. She's like, I'm already sitting. And then he's like, how many times I gotta tell you, Meryl? He's like, it's just so funny. She was fighting for her life, you guys. When I say she was fighting for her life, it was just like, I don't understand. It was like, it was crazy. She's like, so he goes, like, you don't understand. He's like, okay, hold on, let me go back. He's like, at this point, I'm not even aware those exist, right? I don't want Mr. Hilton to get his own records on anything. You know how many situations I've been in? And this is where he's talking about like bank statements and stuff. He's like, well, we requested and we had to get a custodian of records involved. So I believe a custodian of records is like the person who's in charge of the records. Like if you go and ask for bank statements, there's like someone who's in charge of bank statements at like the bank where you're requesting it from. That's the custodian of records, I'm assuming. So he's like, what don't you understand, Meryl? He's not doing anything. He's not going to get his own records. He's not. And then so Meryl's like, she's basically trying to make a point that she's saying, yeah, but if he's extracting his own stuff, it would be easier because she's basically saying that there's not that much stuff. Like, that if he did have an agreement with Friedman or if he did have a text message, that it'd be like one or two things type of thing. That's the way I interpret it. Obviously, I didn't write that down, but that's the way that I felt like she was, because she goes, this forensic thing seems more of a burden on him. And then the judge goes, I don't feel like it's all or nothing at this point, or that it would be more of a burden. He goes, I understand if you have a request of something that's a hard copy, then I understand. But what we're talking about right now, Meryl, he didn't say Meryl, but he's like, what we're talking about right now, and obviously I'm just paraphrasing and acting like the judge. Amy says her brain at night is very active. She's another person who doesn't know the meaning of no, apparently. Yeah. So yeah, we got more people coming in. Yeah, 31 people. 29, it went back down. 2 people said, never mind, I don't watch this. Okay. For anybody just joining, we're doing the live reading of the court hearing, Perez versus Lively, part 2. So he's like, so for all of y'all, I'm just like literally just doing my own little voices and stuff. Obviously, I'll let you know if it's like actually the judge, but this is just me and how I interpret it. So he's like, if you have a request for a hard copy, then I understand. But we're talking about digital. I haven't told Mr. Hilton to not preserve hard copies or nothing. I'm not worried about it right now. That's what he said. The nature of this log is ESI. And then he explained it for all us laymen, because I was like, ESI, electronically stored info. So there's y'all's little Ask Two Lawyers legal tidbit for the night. ESI stands for electronically stored info. He's like, the nature of this log is ESI. So then he goes, there's not going to be a follow-up hearing per se. I don't want to come in to discuss the cost, but if you request it, then I guess we could talk about that like maybe next week and what's going to happen. Anything that you request will be communicated through a sealed order. The vendor that Mr. Hilton has identified, he's like, this is basically a 2-step process that has to happen. And I understand where you're coming from, Ms. Gabernsky. He says that the client is paying, which is Blake Lively, but it's Mr. Perez's expert. So he's basically saying, like, I get what you mean, because she was basically trying to get him to say, like, oh, I must have missed that part. I must have not written that part down, because unless it came after, but I don't think so. There was a part where she says that she wanted to get her own vendor. Like, is there any way we can get our own vendor and expert? It says, I'll be in a better position to determine things after the estimate, is what the judge says. And then she kept saying this one quote, like, between her content provider and her, I can't answer an abstract. What do you mean you can't answer an abstract? She was basically saying, like, I can't answer without, like, knowing all the information. But I don't know, she had these little quotes that stirred me wrong. I can't answer an abstract. She says, I can't answer an abstract. I want our vendor to look at it. And then this is when the judge claps back at her again. It was so crazy to watch, because then he's like, you won't be able to look at it. Like, he's trying to tell her, like, no, you're not going to have access to it. I'm not going to give you access to it. I'm the only one that's going to look at it. No, you can't get your own vendor. This is Mr. Perez's vendor, and your client's just going to have to pay for it. He says, I have to look at whether the estimate itself is reasonable, because she was saying that she wanted to compare it to her vendor to see if the estimate was reasonable. He says, you will reserve the right to question the estimate. Then she says, what's privileged on the cloud or physical, I understand, but I'm in the same position. Estimates may not include privileges, but I'll have to determine it and talk to Mr. Hilton about whether it includes privileges or not. So he's basically just saying, like, look, you're going too ahead of the game. I see a bunch of smiley cry faces. I've learned a lot about Signal with this case. I know where to go if I ever want to plan a bank robbery. Okay, so y'all laughing at the people in our government use Signal. They're only retrievable if they only exist on the device or in the backup. Once gone and without a backup, And that's the thing. It's like they keep trying to get these unattainable things that they say exist, but it's like if they exist, you'd have them. So, anyways, so he goes, he's like, I'll have to determine it and talk to Mr. Hilton. There's search terms that have to be used so that's the only thing that will be important for you, Miss Garency. So then he's like, I'm gonna give you homework. Because she was just like, I want to be a part of this, I want to be a part of this. He's like, all right, you want to be a part of this so bad? Let me give you homework. How about these search terms? So he goes, that's something you can do. You can suggest search terms. Like something that's already common, like we already know the common ones would be something like Blake Lively. That's obvious. But you have experience in this stuff, and Mr. Hilton does not, he says. So you can come up with search terms. And this is the part where you know how this is the part, how many terms is also litigation in itself. This is the part, you guys remember when Perez said that this is going to be so long, like this could take months and months, because this is the Easter egg right here. How many terms go into that forensic search could be a part of is also litigation in itself. So there could be litigation and arguments about which search terms could be used and which ones shouldn't be used. So we could be back at court. We could be back at court deciding which search terms are going to be the ones available. So the reason why a lot of people think this is a win is because this could mean that, it's going to take a while for this subpoena. It's not just, it's granted. It's now we have to backtrack. We have to figure out which search terms are going to be in that forensic search. And he says less what? Oh, she said less honorary on Mr. Hilton. She was saying like she's going to try and make it less like of a burden on him. Says, I like to preserve the right whether the depository. Oh, because she was like saying a lot of stuff where she's like, I'd like to preserve my right to say this. I'd like to put this on the record, blah, blah, blah. So she's like, I'd like to preserve the right whether the depository itself has privilege. She's basically saying like, does the actual, like I know the contents of it has privilege, but does the actual depository itself have privilege? And then he's like, oh, you'll have the right to challenge all of that later. So again, this could take a really long time. Y'all, I still have about 4 more pages. So just sit back, get a drink, chill out. I'm going to sit back a little bit and continue to read. It says, I'm going to ask Mr. Hilton to do the search with the more obvious search terms. But also, the more search terms that we put in there, the more expensive. So that's when he tells her to like, look, your client is looking at a really expensive, like, this is going to get expensive. That's where he tells her. He's like, but the more search terms, you got to be aware that the more search terms you come up with, the more expensive it's going to be. So when you let me know the search terms, keep that in mind. And it's like, if you want to file something with those, let me know. And then that's when Perez kind of says, excuse me, Your Honor, should I wait to get estimates from the vendors until I get the list of search terms? And he goes, no. You can start the talks with the vendors. He's like, because you are not a lawyer, Mr. Hilton, so it could take you time to select these experts. You don't have experts on speed dial like, Miss Lively might, or, these lawyers who, work with these forensic experts. He's like, so it might take you a while to identify these experts. And once you receive and identify who you're going to work with, then, you can get into the search term talk. So he's like, no, immediately go find some vendors, whatever. So then she goes, Your Honor, I want to clarify something. Because a discovery vendor and search terms, a discovery vendor with search term is different than a forensic expert. And then this is where she stumps the judge, okay? So he just literally sits there like, She says, a discovery vendor with search terms. No, she says, a vernacular discovery with the vendor and search terms So I don't know what vernacular discovery is. I don't know if somebody can type that into Google search and figure out what it, she goes, a vernacular discovery with the vendor and search terms is different than a forensic expert. And so the judge just sits there a little bit stumped, and then he replies, he says, well, look, the forensic expert would help Mr. Hilton to collect the info from whatever sources. I already told him what I needed from him, and he's going to talk to an expert, a forensic expert, and then have the help of a paralegal to put it together. And so then Meryl clarifies, she says, in this case, I'm talking about, oh wait, is this the judge that's still talking? Hold on. Even if you determine you don't want to. Okay, so she's like, so she goes, in this case, I'm talking about, so this is where Meryl's like, what we normally do in cases like this is we say there's this amount of data, number of data, the number of phones, and the number of email addresses. And then it could be something like, it says, it could be something like, one iCloud address, 2 social media accounts, and 2 cell phones. And you get the estimate like that. And he was like, no. I understand that, Ms. Gavrensky, but Mr. Hilton may want to be more detailed. So it has to be extracted so he can review it. So she's saying like, it's not going to be like an estimate with like, oh, give me an estimate on what it would cost to extract my 2 cell phones, my social media, and my cloud. He's like, no. He's going to have to give a detailed list of everything that needs, all the documents or things that he has that will need to be extracted, I guess. I don't know. That's what he's saying. He's like, no, in this case, it'll have to be more detailed. And then he goes, I agree that that's all he would need to tell them, but I want a more detailed estimate. That's coming from the judge. And I want him to provide a privilege log. I want him to identify 3 experts. And then once the experts comes up with the log, he addresses Mr. Hilton. He goes, once the expert comes up with the log, you're not going to need a lawyer. You don't need a lawyer. You just need someone to help you put the log together, like a paralegal. But I know someone that I was talking to earlier was like, a paralegal is kind of a lawyer, so it's kind of the same thing, but I don't know. A paralegal is a paralegal, a lawyer is a lawyer. So a paralegal is just someone who can help that puts together projects. So I don't know if you can just outright hire a paralegal or what, but he was just saying that he would need legal help to put together the privilege log because he doesn't know how. But I mean, ChatGPT can do some paralegal work, I feel like. So I don't know if he's going to go that route. But he's like, I'm going to need it by Monday of next week. And you can email the estimate to the email that I provided. So they provided him some kind of private email to send it to. So by next Monday, which would be, let me see what the date would be. Next Monday, I believe that's the 8th, right? Yes, that's September 8th. So next Monday would be the 8th. And so then he goes, do you have any questions? And he goes, no, thank you, Your Honor. Or Perez says, no, thank you, Your Honor. And then, so she says, before we leave, I just want you to let you know that when you guys were doing the ex parte stuff, whatever, she double checked with whether or not Wayfair had provided anything on Mr. Hilton. And she says, I clarified again that none of the privilege logs have identified anything from none of the privilege logs from Wayfair have identified anything from Mr. Hilton. And he goes, okay, and the judge goes, okay, thank you, I'll consider this information. So that was all of it. Like I said, he was not having anything from Meryl. She wanted to look at that privilege log, and she even said, like, even if it's redacted, I want to look at the privilege log. This is before he was presenting it to the judge. And then after, when he presented it to the judge was like, this isn't what a privilege log looks like, which is really weird because me and DFJ went back and forth with a follower that basically said, oh, he's asking for a privilege log. And I'm like, I don't think so, because all he asked for in that, it was the volume of the information, the type of information, like what format it was, and I forget what the last one was. But it was not a privilege log. It wasn't a detailed privilege log, because I'm wondering why he didn't just say, give me a privilege log. He called it something else, and I don't know if I can just bring it up in the slides, because I remember DFJ sent me those slides that we did. I'm gonna look at the chat in a second, y'all. Let me look at the slides real quick. Let's see if they're still here. Because there's that. There's the StreamYard link. I'm trying to find the slide link. It was the type, the format, and the volume of the information. So it wasn't a privilege log that he asked for. So that was weird that, but we did have that in the slides that we made, where it says whether and how privileges under the federal common law included but not limited to qualified reporter privilege apply to this information. We did have that on the slide. But yeah, it does almost seem like it's kind of like a waste of time, all these court hearings, because it's like, well, if you knew you were going to need this information, and he did say, come correct. Remember I told you guys on the last one, when I was reading my notes, that one of the things he kept saying over and over last time, let me go look. He was like, be prepared to answer. Let me go look at my last notes. He told them, be prepared to answer about the burden of and the expenses of the costs. Be prepared to produce fairly quickly and in a short time frame. How quick can you produce these, producing the documents, and the expenses and costs? So why didn't he last time say actually get a vendor, like not just like an estimate or whatever? Because I looked it up under ChatGPT and they said it was like $200 to $400 an hour. And then depending on like how much the volume of the information would be. And when I put it into ChatGPT, it was like close to like $15,000 to $20,000 or $25,000 based on estimates. And it had like 3 or 4 companies that this is what they normally charge. But I wonder why he didn't just tell him at the last court hearing, like, we would need it to be forensically, because I mean, he did. He said, be prepared to produce fairly quick and in a short time frame. How quick you can produce these documents and the expenses and costs. Whether it's me or Judge Lyman, we are going to ask the burden of the cost of producing documents. I appreciate your legal arguments, is what he said. And this was the last court hearing when we were talking about the trend. And then he said, I appreciate your legal arguments, but given the schedule, be prepared to answer this. So I wonder what would have happened if he had the vendor quotes already for that and a more detailed privilege log. Because it just seems like the last time it was kind of like a waste of time with the transfer, because it's like, then why have a hearing? Why not just wait and say, we're going to wait until Judge Lyman rules on that? Especially if you talk to Judge Lyman already, y'all. Why wouldn't he just wait? And the same thing for this. Like, why have a hearing? Why not put it in the minute orders? I mean, in the brief, he said, argue the federal law stuff. But I guess the one thing that I wish that was, it was like, I was really looking forward to the argument part, and there was very not much argument as far as like, the this is one side, this is the other side, and then now I'm gonna make a decision. So that was a little bit disappointing, but it was a win because Blake's people are gonna have to do more work. Perez really isn't gonna have to do that much work because all he has to do is just call around and get some vendors, and then, they're gonna do all the work. And they're gonna pay for it. So is the paralegal. So let's just go look at the chat and see what's going on with y'all. Yes, please like and subscribe if you can. Jennifer Vaughn, there you are. Thank you so much for the super chat earlier. That was really sweet of you. I know that was towards the end. And it's really weird because I got the other super chat and I got some super chats at the courthouse, but when I go into my studio and it says earn, it doesn't have any of those super chats. So I wonder if it takes like a day or two to like clear into the studio. But I was like, I could have sworn I got some super chats at the courthouse and stuff. They were clowning on me and my 7-Eleven coffee. They're like, you could get 10 7-Eleven coffees with this. Because I was like, I'm not bougie. I don't get like, not to say that people who get Starbucks are bougie or whatever, but I'm basically like, I don't get fancy coffees. I just get, Joe Abad said Perez is considering getting a lawyer pro bono if possible. Well, Ari suggested a lawyer that could do it pro bono last time when she was there. They're trying to get proof of something they illegally saw, although I don't think it's anything they are saying they believe it is, if that makes sense. That's a good theory. The act of discovering and understanding the common everyday aspects of human cultures, such as the vernacular language, somebody Googled it for me, Christina. Yeah, he said vernacular discovery, act of discovering. Oh, I was talking about vernacular. What was it that he said? She said that, let me look again. She said a vernacular discovery under a vendor and search terms is different than a forensic expert. She never said how it was different, but he was stumped. He literally just sat there and he was just like he was thinking about it. And then it almost like he's like, well, the expert would help Mr. Hilton to collect the info from whatever sources he has. And I told him what I needed, and then he'll talk to that expert and have the help of the paralegal to put it together. So that was his answer, but he never said whether or not they were different or not. So, thank you, MK. We love your notes. Yeah. They were pretty detailed. They were talking a lot. So this time I feel like I might have missed like one or two things, but for the most part, I got all of it. And there was two things that I wrote down that I couldn't really read, so I kind of skipped over those. But other than that, thank you so much for liking the notes. Is there going to be another hearing in the court again? No. He said that he doesn't want to bring people back for another hearing. But then Perez said that he didn't ultimately say there'd be no more hearings. He just said there's not going to be a hearing about the estimates. So he's like, if you have any questions about the estimates and all that stuff, I'm not going to bring you guys back here unless there's like a request by your client or something. He said, we might see you guys back here next week if you request that. So I guess there's a possibility there could be. Yeah, they ignored their own discovery record where Perez was deemed irrelevant months ago to keep pressing the subpoena. And like, that's the thing that he couldn't do argument because one of the arguments that I would say is the Jed Wallace thing that came up in the deposition. Why would, sorry, I lost train of thought. Okay, the deposition with Jed Wallace. She said, I have no knowledge of Jed Wallace in a smear campaign except for what was told to me, which is considered hearsay, whatever, and what's in the text messages. So if there's not even a legit knowledge of a smear campaign from Jed Wallace, how is it that there's one from, and even Perez said outside the courtroom, if Billy Bush is in there, and I'm trying to bring it up, it's in the slides. I think I took a screenshot of it. Who all, because I was asking ChatGPT too, what he thought about all this. And I remember I took a screenshot of that tag thing because I was like, what does this mean when, he's included in this reporters thing? That's another thing. It said reporter there. So they weren't even arguing whether or not he was a journalist at this point. Now they're just arguing whether or not the information he has falls under the QRP, the qualified reporter's privilege. And so what he wants in that log, he said he wants the dates. Let me look again real quick before I pull that one up. He said he wants the dates, the information. Let me look again. I love when he's like, he could just take screenshots of it. And he's like, no, he can't. He's not going to do that, and I'm not going to make him do that. Where is it where he says what he actually wants? He was like he's like, there's not going to be a follow-up hearing per se. So to Jennifer, who was about, he says, I don't want to come in to discuss the cost. If you request that, then we can talk about that next week. So he said no follow-up hearing per se, but maybe he's going to request to talk to them just through the courts or something. Oh, he said, I'll communicate with you through a sealed order. So there's your answer, Jennifer. He said, I'll communicate with you through a sealed order. I won't do another hearing. But where does it say exactly? Let me go back. Sorry, y'all. I want to see where he says, because he says the dates. Okay, here it is. The log has to have the date, who it's from, who received it. So from and to. The nature of that communication, whether it's an email, a text, or a DM. So there's 3 columns and then a 4th column with the short description. So he says this is where the paralegal and stuff is going to come in, because the forensic guy might not have the info for the short description, because he might just be extracting the dates, the who, and the what's. But I remember he said that part. What was I looking up? Oh, I was looking up that photo for tag. The tag PR part, because I remember I screenshotted it. Okay, so here it is. It says, response to interrogatories. It says, responding party further objects to the interrogatory on the grounds that it is vague as to reporters, news media outlets, and communicated. Responding party further objects to the interrogatory to the extent that it exceeds the scope of local civil law. He says, responding parties incorporates by reference the general objection as it falls set forth in response to this interrogatory. Responding party objects to the interrogatory to the extent it is not proportional to the needs of the case or relevant to the claim or defense of any party. Responding party further objects to this interrogatory on the grounds that it is overbroad. And the interrogatory was, identify all reporters and news or media of any kind with whom you have communicated directly or indirectly concerning Miss Lively, Mr. Reynolds, the CRD complaint, the actions, or the Lively Reynolds Company from June 15th to 2024, which is another thing that I had found compelling, because they want info from May 2024 from him. In this interrogatory where they're saying we need the names of reporters, the date is June 11th, 2024. And then the other date would be the February 2025 date. So there's like all these different dates where they want the starting point to be, which is real. Oh, no, not the August. Remember? There's another part where he says it's starting from August, or in the brief, she says the smear campaign started in August. So if the smear campaign started in August, why do you need communications from June 11th with these reporters? Or so anyway, so the people, it says confidential pursuant to the protective order. The people that were listed there is the New York Post, Samantha Ryan, Business Insider, Katie Warren and Jack Schwanen, Deadline, Dominic Patton, Puck, Matt Belloni, so Puck News, Matt Bellany and Eric Garner, the LA Times, Amy Kaufman, US Weekly, Travis Cronin, Dumois, Billy Bush, Candace Owens, and Perez Hilton. I don't know why I thought Megyn Kelly was in it, but no, she's not. Billy Bush, Candace Owens, and Perez Hilton. I believe Perez Hilton was listed twice. He was listed as content creator and reporter. But yeah, he said outside the courthouse. What about Billy Bush? Where's that subpoena? Where's all the subpoenas to Us Weekly or Do Moi or like all this? So it's really strange. Let me see anyone else. Can they appeal regardless of the results of the trial or only if Blake wins her? Oh, they're talking about Justin's original lawsuit, if it can be appealed. It makes no logical sense and only makes me question their motive even more. Yeah, so he said outside the courthouse that he believes that the reason why the Andy subpoena and the Perez subpoena has not been dropped is because it's retaliatory. Because, I mean, maybe she didn't like the nicknames, and then with Popcorn Planet, he's doing the documentary, so obviously wants to shut them down. So that's all she wrote, y'all. That was the hearing. I will be going back home. We'll be going back to our regularly scheduled program. As of Thursday, I'll probably take tomorrow off and reset from jet lag and all that stuff. I do appreciate y'all coming on the channel to check out the notes. So that's all this little notebook is gonna get. Write it in here. I'll see if I can save this for March, when if it does go to trial, we'll keep it and then write our notes in here. But yeah, it seems like this is going to be a really long process. Don't know if I'll come back if there's more hearings. I feel like the judge isn't going to have like any more in-person hearings. It seems like he didn't want to have any more in-person hearings. He was taking into consideration, I think, her lawyers traveling and stuff too. Saying like all of this could be, done through like motions and private communications, I guess. But Perez seems to think that there might be future hearings for other stuff. And they did say that it could be litigated, like something like the search terms could be something that could have litigation. But yeah, I guess that's all she wrote. Yeah, we're going on an hour on this. So that's the rest of the notes. Thanks, CJ. We appreciate. Yes, I appreciate you too. Official reporter to the saga. Well, DFJ was the official Perez Hilton reporter. I know we missed your prayers up to her and her grandfather. That's why she's MIA today. So prayers for him and prayers for her. I don't know when she'll be back, but I'll keep you guys updated. Oh, thank you, Jennifer. Safe flight home. Hey, Valerie. I appreciate you too. Thanks for supporting. S. Jack says they're late. Yeah, we're just wrapping up. If you want to be part of Replay Crew. Yeah, why would they want up to now when the cutoff date was February? But the judge said that was another Easter egg. It's in part 1 of the video. He said he hasn't determined a cutoff date for this discovery of the subpoena. So they could be extracting from the present. If y'all don't remember my last video that I did with DFJ, it went into the RFPs, like the request for production. Let me see if I can find the screenshot, because that's the crazy part. I would have thought that a lot of these were none, so there must be some kind of, what I'm thinking is all documents and communications regarding your digital online content creator or influencer services or strategy concerning Miss Lively, Mr. Reynolds, Wayfair defendants, the digital campaign, the marketing plan, the film, in connection with or on behalf of Wayfair or their counsel. For the avoidance of doubt, this request includes circumstances in which any Wayfair defendant or their counsel or anyone acting on their behalf provided you with information that you included or relied on in any of your content, on whole or in part, including but not limited to as a blind item. And so I know some people were asking like, well, so does he have all this information? Like, you wouldn't think that he would have all this information. So like, But I remember James Vitushka was, shopping all his emails around. Like, I wonder if it could be someone like James. Because I remember when she said, we know the sources. And then the judge corrected her and was like, you don't know the sources. It could be other sources. So I wonder if he saw something in there that, it wasn't necessarily. And Perez said outside the courthouse that even if they get everything they request, that it's going to be a waste of time and money because there isn't anything that's going to help them. So that's all she wrote. CJ's loving the West Coast. I actually have a new appreciation for all my followers from the West Coast that, wake up early to watch my shows and all that stuff. Cause yeah, it's early over here. Let's see. The after party looked fun. Sorry, I missed it. Jennifer, were you there? Were you at the courthouse? Or are you saying, sorry, you missed the video? Yes, Khaleesi Perez did look good. Oh, Jennifer said no. You're talking about you were just missing the video. Yeah, and I got more video I'll upload to Instagram too. But I did go live. Sorry, y'all. The letters are just so small that to read the chat I have to get up close. So I don't know how all these content creators read the chat. I guess because they pull it up and make it bigger. But yeah. Did I do anything fun? Did I get to enjoy Vegas? I did get to go down to the Strip and stuff, and I went to go try to see if some shops were open the night that I got here, but everything was like closed. I tried to go to the Venetian shops and stuff, and it was closed. The Forum shops, but yeah, I got to see the Sphere, which was really, really cool. There was a big hot Cheeto guy. Like, it was like the hot Cheeto, Chester Cheeto guy. It was pretty scary. I'm like, how do people drive around this Sphere? Because it's really, really distracting. I couldn't do it. Is press allowed inside for the March 2026 trial? Yes, there's just no filming. And you'll have to probably have a line sitter or something because a lot of people want to get in. Bring us back some shot glasses. Maybe from the airport shop. I'm not going back out tonight. I'm just going to go straight to the airport. But yeah, no, I didn't. I mean, what did I do fun? I had some good eats. I went to that Petite Bohème place, which is a cute little like hole in the wall spot. There's like a little hallway. I mean, like a little hallway, but like you don't see it from the street. You have to like go in. It's really, really cool. All right, you guys, this is, me and my Russian goodbyes. I'll be like, bye, and then I don't say bye. Is it busy in Vegas? Yeah, it is. Or the airport, is that Showmat? Yeah, when I was coming in, it was pretty busy. Oh, Jennifer says, I did see the video of the after party. Oh, you missed it because you were sick. Are you local, Jennifer? But yeah, I'm gonna go. Yes, we do have a group photo from the restaurant. I'll post that to Instagram. Good work and thanks for being there for Perez. Yes, of course. He really, really loved the support that he got from everybody. And I think it meant a lot to him that, people were like really cared about it. Oh, Jennifer says she is local. Okay, so now I know why you said you missed it because you didn't get to come. Okay, well, I hope you feel better and you would have liked to be there. Yeah. It was a very long day. I mean, most people got there at 1 because it was supposed to be at 1:30, and then it didn't start till 2, and then we didn't get out of there till closer to 4, I believe. And then by the time we were out there, and then the drinks and all that, so it was a long day. It was from like 1 to 6. I think the drinks ended at 6. Instagram is cj.cjournalist24 because cjournalist24 was taken, so it's cj.cjournalist24. I don't know if Christina can put it on there. And I'll put it in the chat as well. Did they have lockers? Lockers where? No, at the courthouse there was no lockers. We had Nico holding all the phones. Shout out to Nico from BTS LV. He has way more footage. He has the initial interview from Perez when he got there because I wasn't there yet. He's got that interview. So he's got a lot more B-roll footage. Liz, shout out to Liz, who's a civil rights attorney who traveled from San Diego, who had the sign. So he's got some footage of her with the sign. Yes, the transcripts will eventually be available for the 2026 trial eventually. Yeah, after the trial. Good teamwork with Nico. Yes, I'm trying to get him to come out if we do the March 2026 trial. Will it be a show or a series? I'll probably just upload it to YouTube. We want to see all the B-roll. Will it be a show or a series? Oh, I already answered that. Yeah, we'll probably just upload it to YouTube somehow. I don't know, maybe if I'll edit it together. I'll just see what all the footage we have. Maybe we'll edit, because I still have footage from day one as well too. Remember, there was way more protesters. We call them protesters, but it was advocates with signs. $8 a page for the transcripts, yeah. But usually one person will get the transcripts and then we'll share them, like at the Diddy trial. That's what happened. We had Sylvia Investigates get them. I like the wide shots better. The vertical brings in the trolls and it looks better, I think. Oh, you like the horizontal like this better than the vertical? I like the vertical just because it's like more TikTok and just easier to do. I might stream some vertical again, but I know everybody's been wanting me to get into shorts, so yeah, it says AC says, I think I'll go in March and make signs. No, we don't have any future hearing dates for Perez. In fact, he said he would probably communicate through sealed communications is the last thing he said. So I don't foresee any hearings in the near future. But like I said, he did say that he would litigate, or that even the search terms might be subject to litigation. So I don't know about that. So anyways, y'all, I will catch you on Wednesday morning show, or wait, today's Tuesday, Wednesday. Thursday morning show. Drop in the comments what y'all want me to cover Thursday. If y'all want me to cover Cardi B, let me know. We can cover Cardi B's trial. I might end up just doing Cardi B because I know that I missed it covering Perez. She's been doing her trial, and if you guys haven't followed, who had the great Cardi B coverage? Go on my X, my community's objection celebrity court chatter. If you go to my X and click on the community, I think I tagged someone who was covering the Cardi B trial. That was like, oh my God, these are the funniest moments. The videos of her testimony were hilarious. Yes, they were. But also I know that I was going to cover all of Friedman's clients. We had Bo DeMaio. I know Jillian Michaels was in talks as well. Yes, Hines has good Donna Adelson coverage. That's going to be a night show. Probably Sunday night we'll cover Donna Adelson because by that time the defense will rest his case. I know this week it's the defense's case. And that's been my Roman Empire is this Donna Adelson trial. Cause like I've been so deep into the Perez stuff. Yes, maybe I can cover it from Jed Wallace in Texas. Yes, me and Colonel can collaborate on that. Yeah, we'd already talked about going to do the Jed Wallace trial, but I don't know if it's going to get to trial for Jed. They got nothing. They got nothing. I believe that's going to be dismissed, for her. Khaleesi, replay crew. What was I saying? Oh, so what I'm going to cover on Thursday. So looking forward to the Donna Adelson trial. I found there was 2 people that were down there at the courthouse that want me to cover some cases that are like local to them in San Diego. So I'm going to look into those for the true crime chatter. If Jed gets out, her whole case collapses. Yeah, and they have nothing. Thank you for putting everything on the back burner for Perez. Will you be back if there's another trial for Perez? I don't think I will be back for another trial for Perez just because I don't think that there's going to be another hearing. Maybe I'll send Nico. He could be like live from. Nico can do his reporter. Khaleesi with the hat. I really loved wearing that hat. It was given to me last minute by someone, you know who you are. And I thought it went great with the little Carmen San Diego vibe. Actually, it was given to me because it was the girl who did my hair. We were talking about the wind and stuff, and then someone else that was with her um, was like, "You should wear the hat for the wind and stuff." And I thought it was gonna get blown away, but no, it did. It kept my hair down. Thank you, Khaleesi. Yes, Nico does. He actually covers. If you guys follow BTSLV, Behind the Scenes Las Vegas, it's a film. They cover red carpets and film stuff here locally in Vegas, and so he does all of that. He does all their editing and all their film footage. So Carmina says, "Yes, Nico." Um, Nico is a baddie. Is he single? Oh my gosh. Do you only cover current cases? Amy, what do you mean about current cases? True crime or celebrity legal? I cover current celebrity legal cases or true crime. True crime. True crime, no. I cover old cases as well, but not like old cases where it's like it's already one and done. Like I know I promised everyone I was going to cover the smoothie killer when we were doing the trial, or during the trial, and I never ended up covering it. What happened was after I did the Brian Koberger stuff, I started to get like really burnt out. Because remember, I was a streaming morning show and night show 4 days a week. And then the Koberger stuff is really, really heavy. And I was like, I don't think I can do it. And the smoothie killer one was really, really toxic. Like he had his daughter, he wanted his daughter to like fake AI like a voice note from the mom and all this stuff. Like he was trying to get his kids involved in like helping him cover up the mother's murder. But he was found guilty. So I kind of took a step back from the true crime, and I only covered the Koberger stuff here and there because I couldn't do true crime 4 days a week. No, I did not do the Karen Reed trial. I followed it on my own. Oh, 214. Thank you, Christina. We don't say his name. Inmate 214. Stalking Samantha, and it is something we as women should watch and understand. Oh, send it to me because I am going to do a show on the Netflix documentaries, because there's also one that's called what is it called? It's about a girl who was getting cyberbullied, and you guys will never guess who was cyberbullying her. So that's another documentary. So I might do a show on like true crime watch, and like these are some good ones that you can watch, some documentaries. Unknown caller, unknown number. Oh, Christina, spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. Or no, you're just guessing. Okay, so now I gave it away. Is that the one about the mom? We want all the shows. Yes. So I might do something like that because people were recommending like, oh, you should look into high school catfish, unknown number. But yeah, we just gave it away who it was. But that was a good one to watch. That someone's like, you should cover this. And I guess, obviously that case is closed because they figured out who it was. But I might do something like that. We'll see what the channel brings, and, what we're going to do in the future. For now, for sure, I'm doing Monday through Thursday, objection, celebrity court chatter in the mornings. Trying to keep it under an hour for you guys. I still have my vertical series that I'm working on. I had one on inmate 214. But we'll see how much time I have to give to the, all these shows and stuff. Obviously, pie in the sky ideas when you're in the moment. And I had all these ideas, and then, I had to come out here to do this. So a lot of the stuff got put on the back burner, and it's going to take me a minute to get back into the flow of like real life, nurturing my real life relationships as well that, I've been away from. Yes, 214 complaining about his food and all that. We did an episode on that, Amy. I don't know if you missed that one, but we did do an episode on that, 214 and all of that. You missed it, Amy? Yeah, it's down there in the lives. It says the juice box. Yeah, we went over all that. I think it's called like 214 or something. But look for it in the lives. I think it's like 4 or 5 videos down. And I just watched the interview room. They had a really good one on the body cam videos too. Yeah, no juice box for him. No, the series that I'm doing, I know I'm still here, Valerie. Thank you and safe travels. And you're like, you said you was leaving. I'm leaving here soon. The one that Brian did, or Brian, Inmate 214, the series I have is about, it's a little mini series. I have short vertical series. It's about 10 minutes long. Each episode's about 1 minute long. And it's about reality and or movies, film, when art becomes real, and when art becomes reality, and then when reality becomes art. Because there's some little Easter eggs that a lot of people don't know about the 214 and the Idaho 4 and how that came to be. That was found during a forensic Cellbrite analysis of his phone. You've been missing a lot because I come from X and post more on X posts to let us know, even about the lives. I didn't get all the notifications today on YouTube. Christina was telling me that I'm only allowed 3 notifications a day, so maybe that's why. And thank you so much for linking the episode, the 214 episode. I'm stalking Samantha. The stalker got an idea off of the show You. Oh, okay, Amy. I know we've been DMing on X before, so if you want to DM me that on X, because that'd be a good one to include on there too, just so I remember. But yeah, so we're gonna have that series, and then when I premiere that series, we'll have a discussion on it. I know we did it a little bit on one that I did with DFJ, the one about forgiveness, the True Crime Faith Talk. We kind of went into it, but yeah, we went into like whether or not we would still watch slasher films, like I know what you did last summer after what happened with the Idaho 4. Yes, how scary to get ideas from what you watch. Yeah, and so that's what the mini series that I have, the vertical series on 214 is going to be about. So yeah, you guys, have a good night. You know me, I just got to click the X real fast because I will not end the stream. I will chat with y'all all night. I appreciate all the support. I appreciate all the super chats that I got from earlier in the stream and at the courthouse and all that stuff. You guys I have a great fan base. And there was actually 2 people who were followers that recognized me. They're like, I know you, you're CJ, which is really cool. All right, Christina's like, safe travels. Thank you, Amy. Oh, I did not miss. I did watch this premiere episode. That's why I came on after I watched it. All right, good night, y'all. Take care. We will see you on the next one Thursday. Check me out on X and look forward to those Instagram stuff. I'm ending the stream. Citizen journalists, because truth matters.